Hello and welcome back to Wellness Lux. Today I am sharing one of my all-time favorite recipes, cranberry walnut muffins. These muffins are absolutely delicious and they're so good for you. Let's start off with talking about cranberries. These little red gems are packed and loaded with health benefits. Studies have shown that cranberries help lower blood pressure, they improve eyesight, and they also boost cardiovascular health. And these cranberries are loaded with vitamin C. Vitamin C is so good for healthy, radiant skin. I love that. Now, the other ingredient that is just amazing is walnuts. Walnuts have another power food that has so many health benefits. Walnuts are good for your brain. They support brain function. They also help regulate blood sugar. They also help with your gut and good digestion. And also they have been shown in studies to support also aging and radiant skin. So I always love to throw in all these delicious ingredients that just help make you feel good, keep you healthy, and put you on that path to longevity. So we're going to be using a mixture of spelt, sprouted flour, almond flour, and coconut flour. So we're going to mix all those together for our dry ingredient. And then we're going to sprinkle in a little bit of baking soda and baking powder. And then to sweeten it up, we're going to use organic maple syrup. And then we're also going to be putting in some apple cider vinegar. We're going to be using a little bit of lemon zest, and once we have all that together, we're going to also put in some organic coconut milk so that the mixture is nice and creamy. And then I'm going to also use banana, mush up some ripe banana, shredded carrots. Carrots are also packed with deliciousness, and they are going to add a nice texture to the muffin. So let's get started. Okay, so I have my bowl here. I've already added my flours, and so it calls for 2 cups flour. So what I did was I just did a third of the coconut flour, a third of the almond flour, and a third of the spelt flour, so that it equals to 2 full cups there. And then I added the 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and then I sprinkled in some cinnamon. So this is our dry ingredient right here. Now I'm going to do our wet ingredient. Okay, in here I have a half a cup of organic coconut milk and then also a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. So you want to put that in a separate container and just let it sit for a few minutes while you're mixing the rest of the wet ingredients. So I'm just going to leave that there. Now I'm going to mash up the bananas, mix it with the shredded carrots, add in the maple syrup and the lemon zest, and mix that in a bowl. Okay, so while this is sitting to the side, I'm going to mash up 3 small bananas, or if you have 2 large ones, you can do that too, in a bowl. And then it calls for 1 cup shredded carrots, so I'm going to add that to my bowl also. And then it calls for a 1/3 cup maple syrup. And then it also calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon zest and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So we're going to get that all mixed up in the bowl. Okay, so I have all my wet ingredient in here, my lemon zest, my vanilla, my mashed banana, and my shredded carrots, giving it a good mix there. And now that it's mixed really nicely, I'm going to add the coconut milk and the apple cider vinegar that I have here on the side. So here it is. I'm just gonna pour that right in there. Okay, and then give this a nice good mix. And now we're going to add this to the dry mixture, which we have over here. So here we have my flours that I told you about that I mixed up with the baking soda and the baking powder. So that's that, and here we go. I'm just gonna put that right into this bowl. You can see that? now I'm gonna give this a big mix. Okay, here we go. We've got the dry and we've got the wet together. We're gonna mix this up, and once this is nice and mixed together, we're going to throw in the cranberries and the walnuts. Okay, so I have a cup of fresh organic cranberries. I'm just gonna dump them right in there. So you see, I've got my mix here. This looks amazing. And now I'm going to put these in little muffin tins that I have over here. And then I'm going to add a walnut on top of each one. So let me show you how we do that. So I'm using a muffin tray that's for mini muffins. So let me show you like this. Instead of purchasing little muffin cups to put in here, I just got a piece of parchment paper and I cut it. And I cut it into squares, and then I snipped the little corners. Do you see that? And then I'm going to just put my little batter right inside. So I'll show you as soon as I get this first one done. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of batter like this, and then I'm going to just place it inside my little cup. Okay, do you see how it's in there? And then I'm going to top it with a walnut. So I have my organic walnuts here. And I'm going to get one walnut and I'm going to put it right on top so that it'll bake just like that. So I have my little mini muffins here. They're so adorable and I can't wait to put them in the oven. These are going to bake really quickly. And then we get to try. Here we go. The oven is at 375, and I would say about 8 minutes. We'll check on them and they'll probably be ready. So here we go. Okay, 7 minutes are up. Let's check on those muffins. Oh, they look amazing. All right, let me get a little plate. Put one on there and let's try. I got myself a little plate here. And these are great because like I said, I just didn't have any muffin cups, so I just made these. You can just pop them right out. And then you just open up the paper. Yum. And then we've got our little mini muffin. These look so good. They smell delicious. Here we go. Make this recipe, try it, comment below and tell me what you think. Live your best life, look and feel amazing, and join me on the journey to 100. See you next time.